Hi, my name is Shan Adams and I'm a nurse with the PreDiabetes Center. Today we're going to talk about routine eaters. Routine eaters are people that like to eat basically the same thing over and over again. They don't want a whole lot of variety to what they eat and in their menu. They tend to like home-cooked meals, so it may be your wife's pasta or your mom's meatloaf, that kind of thing that you really enjoy. Those are things that you enjoy so much, you really don't want to see those leave your life. Those are things that you hold near and dear, and you want to keep them as part of your regular diet. So we're going to talk about ways to keep what you love and then add in some nutrition to that so that you can end up with really a meal plan that is doable for you. It gives you everything that you need. So the main obstacle that you have is, first of all, you tend not to like too much variety, and secondly, you really don't want to have change and experimentation. So the first thing we want to do is to actually stick with the things that you know and you love. And let's just take a look at what some of those things might be. So for breakfast, we want you to look at what you eat, and then we're going to talk about how could you possibly make that more nutritious. So for example, if you eat cereal right now with milk, could you exchange that milk for soy milk or for almond milk? So take away something that's not so good for you and add in something that is better for you. Could you switch your cereal to a slightly different cereal that might have less sugar in it and something that is more of a whole grain? If you like toast, and you may be eating toast right now with butter and jam, you might be eating white bread, could you switch your white bread for a whole grain bread, a whole wheat bread or a 7-grain bread, or even going as far as a spreaded 7-grain bread, which would be very nutritious? Can you switch out your butter for something like Earth Balance or Smart Balance that's also going to do better for you? And whatever you're putting on top of that, you may want to try something like almond butter or peanut butter rather than a jam, that kind of thing. So you'd still be having toast for breakfast, but it's a far more nutritious breakfast. Lunch is the same thing. We want to take a look at what you eat, and is there a possibility that you could change that into something more nutritious? A great example of a classic comfort food is the grilled cheese sandwich. Typical grilled cheese sandwich is made on white bread, and it's got maybe a Kraft processed sliced cheese in there, and it's fried in butter or oil on both sides. So we could still have a grilled cheese sandwich, but here's another way that we can make that. We can take 2 slices of whole grain bread or sprouted grain bread, and then you can put veggie cheese on that, and they make veggie cheese. It's rice veggie cheese, soy veggie cheese, or almond veggie cheese, and they make it in a variety of flavors, so mozzarella, cheddar, whichever one you prefer. Put that on there, and you can cook it with a little bit of olive oil. You can buy Pam olive oil spray, which is not very many calories, and cook it like that. And you can also add some spinach into that, or some kale, like the baby spinach or kale leaves, to add a little more nutrition there. Even to ramp it up further from there, you can put some thin slice of tomato in there. So that's how to do your grilled cheese sandwich in a way that's going to be a lot more healthy for you. Another great lunch is soup. Some people really enjoy that because it's comforting. Many people don't make their own soup, and they buy it from a can, and that can be fine. You can take a can of soup, open it, use a water-based soup as opposed to a creamy-based soup. So take your water-based soup, and then there's a few things that you can add. So you can put a little bit of couscous in there, cook it for 15 minutes, that'll be done. Or you can put rice, you can put brown rice pasta, so you've got some extra noodles in there. And then you can also put things like extra vegetables in there. So if you buy vegetables in a convenience pack like shredded carrots already, or spinach in a lettuce package, you can just throw those things in. You could also put some legumes in, some beans, so you can add black beans or cannellini beans, those kinds of things that are going to add some protein to your meal. So that's a way just to ramp up a plain old can of soup into a very nutritious meal. Same thing with the dinner. We've included in our book some of the typical comfort type foods that you might already enjoy, made in a very nutritious way. So you may want to experiment with making some of those. Looking at things like the chili, the chicken pot pie, lasagna, enchiladas, those kinds of things are all very comforting and can be made in a pretty nutritious way. We'd encourage you to practice with those recipes so that you can exchange that food that you love that is not so nutritious for something that is going to be more nutritious. When you go out to eat, and you may have a few restaurants that are your favorites, and you may have some meals there actually that you routinely get, you probably want to ask the waiter or waitress if you can make some substitutions there. And some simple substitutions are things like asking if they can change out the non-whole grain for a whole grain and put that in there, so white rice for brown rice, that kind of thing. Ask for an extra serving of vegetables with it, and ask them to cook with olive oil or to just steam it or saute it rather than cooking with butter. So to sum it up, your challenge here is to take a good look at the foods that you routinely enjoy and look at how you can possibly make those foods more nutritious, keeping the foods you love, adding in the extra nutrition for yourself.